Maya had everything. She was the kind of girl everyone admired. Intelligent, well-spoken, and from a wealthy family, she lived in a world where things came easy to her. She didn't need to worry about paying bills or where her next meal was coming from. She had a sleek car her parents had bought her for her 18th birthday, and she was set to attend one of the top universities in the country. Life, as far as Maya could see, was mapped out perfectly. She never really had to face the kind of problems most people around her did. For a long time, Maya didn't let many people in. She had friends, sure, but she kept her guard up when it came to deeper connections. Her parents had taught her to be cautious. You never know who's after you for the wrong reasons, her mother would often remind her. It wasn't hard to follow that advice when you lived in a world where everyone seemed to want something from you. But everything changed when Mia met Sam. Sam wasn't like anyone Maya had met before. He was different, quiet, and thoughtful. He didn't come from money. In fact, he barely scraped by. He worked part-time at a small cafe to help his family out and was always talking about saving up for this or that. He lived in a cramped apartment on the other side of town, worlds apart from Maya's mansion-like home, but none of that mattered to her. Sam had this way of making her feel seen. Not for her money or her status, but for who she was underneath it all. It didn't happen right away, but over time, Maya found herself drawn to him. He listened to her in a way no one else did, and slowly she started letting her guard down. One summer evening, after hanging out with Sam for a few months, Maya found herself sitting across from him at a small diner. It was a place Sam liked, a modest spot where you could get a decent meal for under $10. It wasn't fancy, but it was comfortable, and Maya liked how normal it felt. They sat in a corner booth, talking about life and the future. "I will get why you're interested in me, Maya," Sam said, his voice quiet but sincere. He looked down at his coffee cup, avoiding her eyes. "We're from completely different worlds. You've got everything, and I'm just trying to make it through the week without missing rent." Mia laughed softly, shaking her head. "You think I care about any of that? It's not about money. It's about who you are." Sam smiled at that, but it was the kind of smile that didn't reach his eyes. He still seemed distant, like there was something he wasn't saying. Maya noticed, but she didn't push him. She thought maybe he just needed time, that eventually he'd see what she saw, that they could make it work. Over the next few weeks, Mia and Sam spent more time together. They went on long drives, talked for hours about everything and nothing, and laughed at inside jokes that only they understood. Maya felt freer than she ever had before. She had spent her whole life being cautious, keeping people at arm's length, but with Sam it felt different. It felt real. One day, while they were walking through a park, Maya found herself opening up in a way she hadn't with anyone else. "I don't let people in, you know? Not really. I've always been afraid they'll just use me or hurt me," she admitted, her voice soft. Sam stopped walking and turned to face her, his eyes serious. "I'd never do that to you, Maya," he said. "You're different to me." Special. For the first time in a long time, Maya believed it. But things began to change, slowly at first, in ways that Maya didn't notice right away. Sam started talking about his financial troubles more often. He'd mentioned how hard things were at home, how his family was struggling to make ends meet. Maya, wanting to help, offered to lend him some money. At first, Sam refused, saying he didn't want to take advantage of her, but after some convincing, he eventually accepted. It started with small amounts a little here and there to help with groceries or gas. Maya didn't mind. She loved him, and she wanted to make his life easier. But over time, the requests became more frequent, and the amounts started getting larger. Sam always had an excuse, a reason why he needed the money, and Maya trusted him. She believed that he wouldn't ask unless he really needed it. Then came the day when Sam asked for something bigger. He needed help with rent. His family was facing eviction, and without Maya's help, they'd be out on the streets. Maya didn't hesitate. She transferred the money to him, feeling good that she could help the person she loved. But that's when things started to unravel. After that, Sam became more distant. He stopped texting as often, stopped showing up to their usual hangouts. Mia tried to brush it off, telling herself he was just busy or stressed, but deep down, she knew something was wrong. One evening, after not hearing from Sam for days, she decided to go to his apartment to check on him. When she knocked on the door, there was no answer. She tried calling him, but his phone went straight to voicemail. Just as she was about to leave, one of Sam's neighbors walked by. "You looking for Sam?" the neighbor asked, eyeing her curiously. "Yeah," Mia said. "Do you know where he is?" The neighbor shrugged. "Moved out last week. Didn't say where he was going." Maya felt her stomach drop. She stood there, stunned, unable to process what she had just heard. Sam had left without a word, without an explanation. And he had taken her money with him. For days, Mia tried to make sense of it. She called, she texted, but there was no response. It was as if Sam had vanished, leaving nothing behind but the memory of their time together and the hollow feeling in Maya's chest. She had let her guard down, believed that for once she could trust someone completely, and now she was left picking up the pieces of her shattered heart. It took Mia a long time to come to terms with what had happened. She had always been so careful, so protective of herself, and the one time she let someone in, they had taken advantage of her kindness. It hurt deeply, but over time, she started to see things more clearly. One afternoon, as she sat in her room staring out the window, her mother came in and sat beside her. "You know," her mother began, "your father used to tell me something when we first started dating. He said love is like a bank. You both have to make deposits, emotional investments in each other. If one person keeps withdrawing without putting anything back, eventually the bank runs dry." Mia thought about that for a long time. Sam had taken and taken, but he had never really given anything back. It wasn't just the money, it was the trust, the care, the emotional support that had been missing. Maya had made herself vulnerable, thinking that love was enough to keep things balanced, but she realized now that love wasn't just about giving. It was about receiving too, about being with someone who valued you as much as you valued them. In the end, the moral wasn't something grand or complicated. It was simple. Love should be a two-way street. It wasn't enough to give everything to someone without expecting anything in return. True love, the kind that lasts, is built on mutual respect, trust, and effort. It's not about one person doing all the work while the other reaps the benefits. It's about balance. Mia knew now that she had learned a hard lesson, one that would stay with her for the rest of her life. She wouldn't stop loving or trusting people, but she would be wiser about who she let into her heart. Because, like a bank, love could only flourish when both people were willing to invest in each other equally.